Welcome to an exciting edition of the Salon Scoop podcast today. On the menu, another roundtable discussion around an industry hot topic with three very, very influential women who represent some of the biggest salon brands in our industry. We are definitely in for a treat as we're going to get the scoop on different insights, best practices, and visions around the state of education and events in our industry today. I think it's fair to say that there were shifts already happening prior to the COVID pandemic, but certainly that unique time in our lives completely altered how brands had to execute education and events. And it's probably safe to say that it has forever transformed how education will live going forward in this sort of new normal that we are adapting to. I can't wait to get into this important discussion. So let's start by introducing today's panel. These three women are definitely industry role models, and I'm so grateful to have each and every one of you with us on the show today. Can you take just a quick moment to introduce yourselves to our audience?
For sure. Well, good morning or good afternoon. My name is Deanna Spielman. I am with the Wella company. I have been, in the industry for a little over 20 years. And, I started out behind the chair and through, just growth in the industry and kind of finding where my passions lie, it's brought me on a path here to be the education lead for Canada for the Wella company. So that's me.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, Scott, for that really lovely introduction. That was makes me feel good, warms my heart. So I'm so privileged to be here. I'm really excited because I'm new to this role as National Education Manager. My name is Erinn de Luca, and I just started in this role in January of this year, but I'm not new to the industry. I've been, having my hands involved in hair since I was in high school. And I originally started my career in the beauty industry in the makeup field. And I went to school for special effects makeup and film, but at the same time did an apprenticeship for hair. And I think truly found my passion there. And my heart, I think, really lies with color. And so I started educating, long story short, with Schwarzkopf Professional 12 years ago as a technical advisor, and then eventually supervising Ontario, and now in this new role. And I'm just super thankful to be able to do what I love every day and sharing that passion with others. And I'm, dedicating my life to education. So I'm excited to be here to talk about that.
Awesome. Congratulations. Scott, you put together a great group of people. Like, before I get into my own introduction, it's a pleasure to actually meet both Erinn and Deanna for the first time. So we don't get these opportunities very often. And I think it's going to be a good 45 minutes. For those that don't know me, my name is Angele Charette, and I'm the education director for the professional products division at L'Oréal Canada. So that includes a bunch of brands for those that are listening that may not know. We have L'Oréal Professional, Pureology, Matrix, Biolage, Redken, Kerastase, Shuamura, and our latest acquisition, Pulp Riot. I'm a hairdresser by trade. I left the salon about 17 years ago to become an educator myself. And over the course of my 17 years in the professional products division at L'Oréal Canada, I've officially worked on all of the brands in all of the departments, so sales, education, and marketing. And at one point, I thought, I don't think they know what to do with me anymore because I've kind of done the rounds. And this new role that I have today, which Scott teased me about, has a fancy title called the Modernization and Transformation Director for the Professional Products Division at L'Oréal Canada. But it was as if the role was created for me. So I officially have the best job on the planet, and I get to work with all of the brands and all of the education directors, and really look forward to this conversation. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I think our listeners are excited, and they might not realize, this to me is really pretty unique, right? To have the heads of education for some of the top brands together. As Angele said, this is sort of first time meeting. It's not that common that, the brands that are technically in competition with each other, or, they're not having strategy calls together, obviously. So I'm pretty privileged, and I think our listeners, are privileged to have all of you together on one call. So let's just sort of set the table quickly and give our listeners a better understanding of what an education director or education manager or leader, whatever the title is, for a major industry brand actually does, right? Sort of a job description. And maybe Deanna, I'll ask you to just give a quick overview of what that might look like so people can understand.
All right. Well, thanks, Scott. So I think I personally believe that within every company, the role is going to look a little bit differently, depending on what the needs of the company are and probably the needs of the market are with that brand. In my role, I oversee the Canadian education team. So we've got full-time and contract educators right across the country. So I oversee kind of what they're delivering, the training aspects for them. I've got my hands in kind of the curriculum that's being delivered, whether it be, on stage, in session, like in classroom. I have the opportunity to work with global, which I think is really fun. I'm a hairdresser at heart. I was behind the chair for a lot of years. So being able to like see the trends that are coming, ahead of the time, ahead of the curve, and being able to launch them, that's really fun. I have the opportunity to kind of work a little bit in the social platform. So how we're delivering education socially. Basically, I always say when someone says, what do I do? I have the opportunity to bring education to, the hairdresser wherever they should seek it, or to the beauty professional wherever they should seek it. So, a piece of the role that people don't see that I do a lot behind the scenes is really marrying what Canada and the US are doing in the field together. So that's kind of a piece. Our company delivers things globally, and then we break it down by region. So I break it down into, I get what they're delivering to North America, and then I always say Canadianize it and bring it to what's relevant to Canada. So that's kind of what I do every day.
I think we have a lot of US listeners as well. So, I mean, obviously it would be, quite similar, in the US market, what we're referring to here anyway. So thank you for sharing that, Deanna. Okay, so let's delve in. Sticking with our sort of menu and food theme here, we're going to skip the appetizers. We're going to delve right into the main course because there's a lot to discuss, and I want to get our listeners as much value as possible today. The reality is that we're facing one of the biggest labor shortages that our industry has experienced in a very, very long time. And a lot of salons are really struggling out there, right? They're struggling to survive. And as a result, salons are sort of trying to prioritize and deal with the basics. And unfortunately, sometimes that means, they're limiting their investments in things like education and marketing. So how are you dealing with this from an education standpoint in your company? Maybe we'll start with Angele, and then Erinn, then Deanna.
Perfect. It's about accessibility for us. So we are offering a plethora of different options to make education accessible, and certainly much more personalized than it may have been in the past. So we offer, of course, in-salon support. I know all of our full-time educators were thrilled to be able to get back on the road and get back into salons. We offer academy and artistic programs, of course. There's free monthly live webinars. But there was a really cool latest venture for some of you that may have seen it through social, was the metaverse. So Matrix Canada was the first to kind of delve into this whole new way of educating. But also, many of the listeners may not be aware that we launched a platform called Access. And it's a free platform for all stylists across the country, no matter what brand that you use, that covers all subjects. So of course, we also offer, academy or artistic programs, but now we're talking about team management, business management, digital education, sustainability. The goal of the platform is to really help the industry with the right levers to create personal plans, but really help them in terms of building sustainable businesses for the future post-pandemic. So wherever they are, we want to reach them. And with the launch of our Access platform, having 24-hour access to information and support, I think is the best approach that we could have had. Launched it actually pre-pandemic, and that's where we really saw it take off. But accessibility, I think, is going to be the key to supporting salons and stylists in the future.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think accessibility is the key, because there's no two hairstylists that are alike, no two salons that are alike, and no two learners that are alike. And so we've taken a similar approach where we're offering variety and being able to tailor to the needs of each individual stylist or salon, whether that be on a virtual platform, a virtual academy, or touching people on demand through social platforms like YouTube or Instagram, where we're keeping things lighter and almost having some edutainment value, right? Like inspire me in a fun way, whether it's on my break in between clients or at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm scrolling on Instagram because I can't sleep. Just really infusing everything we do with like fun and inspiration. But then I think that nothing will ever truly replace the the pillar of education, which are those hands-on workshops, right? Like really experiencing the new technique or the new product and diving into it that way. And we want to make that affordable and accessible for everyone. So we've actually pivoted our approach to how we are executing those hands-on workshops. And instead of having people travel into one central academy, creating remote academies across the country so that no matter where you live, you're able to access those in a more cost-effective way. But then also offering programs that aren't just, the full day or 2-day or 5-day programs, but making them a little bit smaller for some people, and doing half-day look and learns where you can just come and be inspired and watch somebody do something really cool and take that back behind the chair with you without having to give up a full day in the salon. So that's the approach we're taking.
Well, so like much like the last two, Erinn and Angele, it's accessibility. The education has to be available to stylists wherever they should seek it and whenever they should seek it. So Wella's taken the approach of in classroom, our educators are thrilled to be back, teaching face to face. That's obviously a passion. We're people that like to see people and talk to people, and so this is really, really good to be back face to face. But we have to offer all the different platforms. So whether it be online, we do offer a 24-hour available app, so people can shop education. It's all free, but they can shop whatever they are seeking for. Any of our brands, we have an app that's probably our most utilized tool for education, where they can go and just whatever they want to learn, cutting, coloring techniques, it's all there for them. YouTube, I love that, Erinn said edutainment. That's so big in our industry, making it fun. And we're doing that a lot through, Instagram and lives and different scenarios. So it's really staying connected in wherever they see it, whether it be in our studios. We still have studios. So we have the studios in the US and in Canada, so they can go to them, or we do offer in-salon education where we go to them. So either or.
Definitely sort of common themes, that I'm hearing here is obviously accessibility, but also like a big variety, right, of different styles, different ways that you can sort of consume the education, and having it available pretty much, 24/7 on different platforms. So again, if you're out there, whether you're an independent stylist, whether you're working in a salon, whether you're a salon owner, there are so many options available to you. And even though you might be going through difficult times and you're worried about finances, there's still tons of education available. And I would highly recommend that you reach out to your brand representative, whether that's a sales rep or your educator for the brand that you work with, and make sure that you're aware of all these different education vehicles, I guess, that are available to you, so that you're at least maximizing what you can for you and the team around you. So all right, let's talk a little bit about the repercussions from the COVID pandemic, because that's just a clear reality that we've all had to deal with. How has it impacted how you facilitate education in your companies? And what are the biggest challenges that you see when it comes to getting people interested in education again? Maybe we can do Erinn, Deanna, and then Angele on this one.
Yeah, thanks for that question. I think, the closures were hard. It hit the beauty industry hard. It was, I think, something that's going to take some time to get over for beauty professionals. And our main goal as a manufacturer when those closures happened was to be able to pivot as quickly as we could to stay in contact with our salon communities. And silver linings, I think that it proved to us how agile we can be, and how we can rethink and reevaluate the way that we're educating to again make it more accessible, but also just more interesting, and maybe how we can continue to engage using different techniques. So the way that it's changed how we facilitate is we've stepped away from product focuses and moving more into inspiration and technique. And we're finding that people really are valuing their time more than they ever had. And we want to make sure that what we're offering to them is meaningful, right? And yes, they want to know about how to use the product. That's necessary. But can we do that in a virtual way prior to that in-salon experience or that in-workshop experience, so that you come to the table, everybody's on the same level playing field about understanding of the product, and we're able to dive right into what's on trend, what the technique looks like, how to speak to that in salon, and provide more networking opportunities as well. So I think that that's kind of, you know, how things have shifted for us and how we've been able to rethink what we used to offer. And in my opinion, is landing really well in the field right now. So.
Anna, sort of, you can touch on that, but, you know, do you see challenges in terms of getting people interested in education sort of in a different way than prior to the pandemic?
I think, like I was saying, if they don't see value in the course, then they're not going to come. So we need to find out what makes them tick, right? Like, what is it exactly that they're looking for, and adapt to that individual learner. So taking a salon by salon approach or a stylist by stylist approach. You know, we regularly have roundtables with our internal team so that we're able to assess what is you know, working and what isn't working, and how can we change that in like our more formal offerings, and then just remaining really agile in the field so that whatever it is that they're looking for, we're able to meet. And if that is something that's more trend-based and more technique-based, getting that pre-work done virtually and then going in and offering those inspirational classes on a more regular basis, I think has been what has been motivating stylists and keeping their interest in education.
Angele, anything to add to that?
I always have something to add to that. I totally agree. We haven't seen a lack of education desire, to be honest with you. We've seen ticket sales sell out faster. We've seen like loyalty points, redemptions higher than they've ever been. Where I found it interesting with this incredible opportunity I have now to support all of our brands, I spent the last 3 months traveling the country, doing what we call road days. So I hit, you know, 4 different brands and spoke to salon owners and stylists and independent stylists to say, like, what do you want? Like, and what do we do well that we have to keep? And what do you not want to do ever again? And there's been a resounding, please don't come to my salon for PK, which is quite interesting because traditionally that's just what we did. You launch a product, you show up with your shampoo and you explain what's in it. To Erinn's point, it's, they can learn that, you know, online. They can get onto a live platform like we have on Access. So we're calling it this idea of blended learning. It's like, learn about the product whenever you want to, or to be maybe a little bold, like read the bottle because it'll tell you what it does. And then let us come into the salon and have fun, have an experience, create a memorable experience for salons and stylists, because they're busy and they're hustling post-pandemic, and they don't have time to listen to what they could probably listen to online or read on a bottle, but they want to be inspired, they want the connection, and they want to be on top of what the latest trends are. So I think from what we've been doing is being agile and changing. I think sometimes the way we as manufacturers have created this beast of, this is what you get in education, and we do PK, and we do, but if they don't want it, we're not doing it anymore. So that's been kind of the resounding change. Everything that sells out very quickly has been an experience, has been an event, has been artistic, has been creative. And what we don't get requests for anymore are traditional PKs, which, to be honest with you, as an educator for the last 20 years, I'm totally cool with. So like, maybe it's just me, or maybe I'm the only one who will say it, but like, I don't want to go with my swatch book anymore and do the swatch book dance and show them the color families. They know. So I think today it's, how can whatever you're teaching me help me build a sustainable business? How can you come in and get my team rallied together and have fun again? Because it's been a challenge, but now it's over. And I think as leaders in the industry, we have to bring that back and we have to break it fun again. So again, not a lack of interest, But I think a lot of salon owners and stylists are like, oh no, but I don't want it, because there's this assumption that it's product knowledge. So I think we are all doing a great job about sharing on social media the options that we have and the fun and creative things that we do. And people are coming. You know, we sold out the Red Confusion event in 4 months, which typically takes, 10 to 12. We didn't have enough room to fit these people in. Why? Because they want to be educated, they want to connect to their community, and they want to be inspired again. So that's the add-on that I have to Erinn.
Yeah, and I think, you mentioned, fun and experience, and that actually I want to talk a little bit about events, because, obviously for a couple of years, there were 0 in-person events, due to the pandemic. And I have seen some good successes in the past year with a return to in-person events, and people seem like they were just dying, right, to get back to in-person interactions and gatherings and sort of that fun experiential component. But I'm curious to know your opinions on whether the landscape for events has changed permanently or not. Like, what are the challenges that you see from an event standpoint going forward, and how are you dealing with that? Let's try Deanna first, then Angele and Erinn.
Well, great question, Scott. So, events.
I'm here for the good questions. You guys provide the good
Okay, good question. So, the pandemic hit the industry hard. When you look at the type of person that we have the opportunity to work with, like, we're hairdressers. We want fun. We want inspiration. We want to be together. And when all that got taken away from us, it put us in a different world, and it put people kind of into trying to really figure things out. Right out of the gate, as soon as things started to open up, we took the opportunity to run a tour right across Canada, and I was blown away, because I was like, okay, we're gonna throw this out there and see really, how people are feeling and gauge how it's going. And I thought we were gonna struggle with ticket sales, but they sold fast, they sold quicker. Like Angele said, like, we had no room for everybody that wanted to come, because I didn't plan on the events being, people wanting to come like that. So that was a big thing. I think one of the challenges that we're going to see going forward is people really, to mirror, what the other two have said, is people are really looking for, that inspiration. They're looking for, time is valuable. They, that's one thing that everybody learned is their time is precious, and they don't want to go and not learn something. So it's about learning something through the experience. It's about being creative in how we deliver it. It's bringing the right person to deliver the education. So, in an event situation, maybe I'm not sticking, the same old person or the same person that we've had on stage for a number of years. Like, it's someone new and someone fresh, and what can they bring to the guests or to the audience that's unique and different, and again, creating that experience. Like, we just have to really look at what are we delivering, and what is the experience, and what is it doing, or what knowledge is it passing on to the people that are choosing to come, that's different, and not doing it like if we used to do it in 6 hours, now you do it in 4, because time is precious, and they want to make sure they're maximizing everything they get from it. So
great point. Time is valuable. Angele, how do you see the landscape of events having changed?
So yes, after practically 2 years of only online events, people are thirsty to reconnect. Where I see the landscape changing is, again, it's that idea of accessibility. So years ago we would do Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and if you're in that city, you were lucky, and if you weren't, too bad. You flew or you didn't get to participate. And I think where we're going to see the landscape change, and we're starting to see the landscape change again, is what we would consider like a hybrid event. You pay, you come, you attend, you're live and you're hands-on. Are we streaming it live? Is there going to be a recording afterwards? So we're really looking to ensure that we do reach everybody, because there's a lot of thirsty stylists out there that want to reconnect, but we can't forget about the people who aren't there yet. And they want to get the same education. They deserve the same education. We, again, have to ensure that they're getting it. So I think that's where you're going to see landscapes change. Shorter events, more experiential, hands-on, options to stream live, options to be able to access the information afterwards. And I think that is going to ensure that we're reaching the maximum amount of stylists. Certainly, I know later, we might talk about independent stylists, but again, who may not have the loyalty points to pay for tickets. We just want to ensure that everybody gets the opportunity, as they should. But I think that's where the O+O, online, offline education and events is going to be more and more present in the future. And let's not forget about this whole idea of AI that we're going to start seeing more and more of again, that I think we're just scratching the surface on. But that's where I think we are headed anyways.
I'm actually really curious. I mean, we're still, I think, a good 5 to 10 years out, but things like virtual reality, augmented reality are going to become, sort of real components of our world, and probably there's going to be some unique applications to how that can, work within our industry for things like education experiential events, even if you're not, physically there potentially. So, anyways, that's a longer term discussion. Erinn, what about you? What are some of the challenges that you see how the events are sort of taking shape now post-pandemic?
I don't necessarily foresee a challenge. I see an opportunity. I think that we have so much engagement right now, and people are so excited. To your point, they want to come to shows because they haven't had them in a while. So the opportunity that we have is to create something that is really, really special and rethink the way that we've done things. And to echo Angele, like, I really do agree that you're going to see a hybrid component in shows and events, whether in the future that is augmented reality or virtual components within the event itself, like maybe getting the materials of the event virtually sent to you so that you walk away with something. Or it could be as simple as pivoting to online ticket sales and increase social media engagement at events. I think that is a way for us to sort of evolve what we've already done and keeping that digital component so that you do reach a broader audience. And then also for more remote locations is breaking down those shows into different regions so they again are more accessible and then more customized to that individual region, because there is such a difference from market to market across this vast country of ours, and not forgetting the people that maybe are living further out and creating these mini events for them. The other thing I think that's really important for us and a big focus for us right now is making the events experiential. And we've all used that word today, but I think it's really important that we're adding more value than just a product showcase, for example. It really is creating an experience and an opportunity for stylists to connect and network and walk away with just more value and more inspiration than they might have in the past. So yeah, I don't think challenges in the new landscape. I think it's all opportunities and it's all good stuff.
I like that perspective for sure. All right, so I'm going to take it. We're talking about sort of big picture, macro events, experiences. I'm going to pull it down into sort of micro, because another big trend that has really accelerated since the pandemic is the shift towards more and more independent service providers, right? Whether that be working out of a salon suite, renting a chair, working from a home studio. So I'm curious to know, because this is a real, I believe, like a real challenge that this poses, from an education standpoint to, reach those independents. So how do you see that sort of playing out, and how are you addressing this particular portion of the industry, the independent stylist? Let's maybe start Angele, then Erinn and Deanna.
Great. I agree. It's a huge trend that is not going to go away. Independent stylists also don't have the same connection, unfortunately, to brand education, because they're buying their products, from stores and not necessarily working with a business partner. The way we've always supported independent stylists, and where we'll continue to and probably accelerate with the idea of like these remote academies, is ensuring that we have cluster programs available in all of our stores, that we have what we consider like brand days, where an independent stylist knows that their educator for whatever brand they're using with us today has an opportunity to connect. Yes, we have access to an online platform, but for those independents that crave the connection, we're going to go to them in store. So you're going to see cluster programs. You're going to see, of course, educational events where, in order to reach independent stylists, that's where we're going to have to ensure that we're promoting our programs and our events on all of our social platforms and all of the digital newsletters that they receive today, so that they too can have access to the same as every 3, 5, 10 chair operator salon has in the future.
Fair enough. Erinn?
Yeah, I totally agree. Took the words right out of my mouth, because cluster programming is the key, I think, to creating community within a network of, independent operators. And I get why people are doing it, right? Like the flexibility that you're allowed when you are operating independently is a huge plus, especially for somebody who might have a young family, or maybe a different business that they work on, and they're merging two careers together. And so I think in order to engage them, we need to be flexible with our offerings. So whether that is creating community online, through our virtual academy, through our social media pages, or creating cluster programming and working with our stores in order to facilitate that, to really bring people together in person, and get to know who is their neighbor in the area. I also think that we need to be cognizant of the type of education that we're offering to independent contractors is the same level that we would offer a larger salon. I don't want to say that's because somebody's become an individual operator that they're not able to access the same level of education that somebody that works at a 10 operator salon can. So we're really making sure that there is accessibility and equity in what we're offering to salon professionals of all different walks of life and affordabilities, and even not just when it comes to what they can contribute financially, but what they can contribute with their time as well. So yeah, we definitely feel that is a growing part of the industry that deserves attention, and deserves education like everyone else.
And I'm going to sort of shift the question a little bit further for you on the spot, but sort of listening to this, like the solution, sounds pretty consistent so far. But how do you connect? How do you communicate with the independents? Because that's probably just harder because it's so scattered, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think when you are dealing with like suite buildings, right, you've got an entire network right there, and it's easy to set up a cluster class. But you're absolutely right. There's people that, work individually from home, for example. One of the things that I think has just totally taken off, and it's been building over the years, but has really taken off during the salon closures, is Facebook groups. And we've seen that this like giant connection of collaboration of different stylists, whether they are a salon owner or an individual home operator, sharing information. So we've made sure that we've joined those Facebook groups and are able to post when there are things happening, so that they can know what's available to them, even if there isn't a sales rep visiting, or maybe they're ordering online instead of in a store, so that they are able to know what's available to them and get that support. So that's one aspect. Yeah.
Great. And I'll just put another call out here. If you are an independent and, maybe you are, buying your products from a store, make sure that you're informing yourself, asking the questions when you go into the store to find out what education is available, because it's not always, classes, and you might think, oh, I'm an independent, so it's not, it's not made for me. There are obviously lots, as we're hearing today, lots of opportunities, lots of sort of customized, personalized training. So make sure that you reach out to inform yourself as well. Okay, I'm going to ask, this is a one-word answer from each of you, and we're going to do it sort of rapid fire. Do you find that in today's world, 22, 23, do you find it is more challenging or less challenging than it used to be to recruit new educators? More or less? Erinn? One answer, one word. More or less?
I'm going to go with less. Yeah.
Deanna?
Less, definitely less. Yeah.
Angele?
More.
Okay, love it. All right, so let's get into this. More or less challenging to recruit educators, and what steps are you taking to recruit new educators for your brand? Let's start with Erinn on this one, and Deanna, who both said less challenging, and then we'll finish with Angele.
Yeah, the reason I said less is because we are hiring right now. We're expanding our team. We actually just reorged our education department. So we are hiring across the country, and we've had just an influx of so many amazing hairstylists apply, and we're in the interview process with quite a few of them. And I feel like it's been inspiring to see all of these hairstylists that are wanting to partner with a brand and wanting to share their passion with others and looking for more fulfillment through education. the thing that's difficult is finding the right combination of industry experience, of product knowledge, but then of course the teaching ability and presentation skills. But so far it's been really great for us, and we've been partnering with a lot of new stylists that I'm really excited about.
Anna, you can pipe in and also maybe talk about what steps you take to recruit new educators.
Okay, so much like Erinn said, we've obviously started to expand our team, grow and change. Right, the industry's changing. We're adding to the team in different regions. The resumes come in. The interest is there. We get interest in all different avenues, like whether it be through your sales rep, through your social media. Like a lot of our contacts come in. They've watched a live and then they reach out to the person that did the live. How do I become an educator? How do I become a part of your company? It's a lot of, we're not doing a lot of seeking, they're seeking us and they're coming to us because they're interested. I think just as the industry has changed and people are looking, they watched what happened over the pandemic and they thought, geez, it looks fun to teach and share my passion. I learned a lot. So they're looking to really, grow their skills, join a team that they feel passionately, they feel passionate about, or a brand that they feel passionate about. To me, or what Erinn said, it's when you're looking for the educator, it's finding that right balance. Can they deliver the education? Can they, are they confident in front of a room of people? When you're looking for the right balance in an educator, it's easy to find. We're getting a lot of interest, but it's really the challenge becomes selecting the right person for the right location for the right market. So that's kind of the challenge that you kind of see.
No?
All right, so I said more just to be contradictory, but I'm going to go with more. I agree with both Erinn and Deanna. There's always a lot of interest. Where I find it more challenging, I have a role where I am ultimately responsible to transform and modernize L'Oreal's professional products division education for the future. Lots of people want to be a part of the group, but they don't really know what that is, and they don't really know what it means. And how is it challenging? We are totally recruiting. I'm recruiting what I call a transversal team. So corporate, in the office, I'm looking for gurus that are going to help support all of the individual brands to become more effective and really start implementing these ideas of digital strategies in the future. One whole department. Then you have brand departments. Today, I find it more challenging because people have this idea of what being an educator is. And I'm not going to say I try to discourage people when I talk to them, but I have in my 18-year career have stylists come to me saying I'm really tired of being in the salon. And I'm like, it's a lot of work doing what we do. And you got to be really passionate about sharing the information and the knowledge and creating memorable experiences for people. I can say very openly, and I hope tons of people are listening, we are recruiting. We're recruiting artists, we're recruiting educators, we're recruiting managers, we're recruiting territory managers. We have 2 new education directors for the first time in history. That 2 brands have shifted education leaders. I find it very challenging because we don't have these opportunities to share with people that they don't have to leave the industry. They have a ton of option within the industry that can provide them incredible, fulfilling careers and stay connected. And they don't have to leave the industry post-pandemic and go work in the car industry or change industries completely. That's where I find it challenging. Scott, we don't promote it enough. We don't get the word out enough. We try to put them in newsletters or on Facebook or on Instagram. Somebody asked me recently to post on LinkedIn. I don't know about you, but my hairdresser friends aren't spending their days on LinkedIn. So I'm going to tell you it's more challenging. But if anybody's listening who wants to know more information, call me, text me, slide into my DMs. I'm here. I'm happy to give people all of the information that they want, because if you want to be an artist, you can be. You want to be an educator, you can be. You want to be the next head of education for L'Oreal Canada, you can be. I didn't think it was a possibility either. And perhaps Erinn and Deanna would echo that. We probably didn't, show up in the industry thinking that we would be the education leaders for major manufacturers, but we are. So it is challenging, and I want people who are listening to call me up. Call me up.
Here, right here.
Call me up.
No, great message. I think it's so important, to continue to let young people either in our industry or, you know, young people who are still, you know, in school, sort of having the debate, because, you know, the beauty school attendance has been down, you know, the past couple of years, that there are so many opportunities in this industry, and it's not just, okay, I'm going to be a stylist in one salon for the next 40 years. You know, there are lots and lots of amazing opportunities if you want them. Right. So definitely important. Let's continue to look into the future a little bit. Hopefully you all brought your crystal balls, and we can sort of observe. I'm curious to just sort of hear your vision. You know, several of you are new in your role. What do you think education and events are going to look like in our industry in the next 5 to 10 years? How is it going to continue to adapt with digital technology and just sort of the evolving needs and wants of our industry? Let's go with Deanna, then Angele and Erinn.
Okay, so I brought my version of my crystal ball today, Scott. So I think, you know, just in the next few years, we're really gonna, as we're starting to already see it, it has to be about the experience. Like when you're building out an event, it has to not just be about what I'm putting on stage, but what location am I at? Because if I'm going to take the time away from that stylist to come to an event, you know, so that we can inspire them, it has to be like not only the time that they're at the event, but what are they going to do in the evening? Like what is in it for them? You know, it's all about the experience that we're going to offer them in that time frame. So like looking at, you know, do I take them to a really cool destination? We do a little bit of a show, and by cool destination, that can be like anywhere, because as we talked before, you know, the big shows where you just used to see your major centers have shows. I think if we want to reach our full audiences, we need to reach them in all of the locations. So there's smaller, more quaint events, but making the experience. And then, you know, so more events that are smaller. And then who's on stage? How are we inspiring them? That's a really big thing. And then again, you know, the digital piece, because there's going to be people, like maybe you're doing a show in Western Canada, but somebody from Eastern Canada wants to attend. There's always going to be that hybrid's going to be a huge piece going forward. But also, you know, after the show, what do they, you know, there's the inspiration part, but then what do they learn? So is there a hands-on component? So I think they really, for us in the industry, starting to build these events for customers, it's really the experience from the minute they land to the minute they leave. So that's my take on my crystal ball.
Love it. Angele?
For myself, I have to tell you, I don't think it's going to take 5 or 10 years for us to see major shifts. I think certainly on our behalf, over 2 years of closures, we were incredibly fortunate to continue to work. And the organization that I work for gave us all an opportunity to learn and sent us all to school and said, when you come back, you better be ready to support these people in a different way and in a better way. I think the time is now that we're going to see how we're going to be able to create new ways of connecting with people. That first example, like I mentioned a little earlier, was Matrix launching, you know, tonal control via the metaverse. Like I created an avatar, like it was the craziest experience of my life. I'm on my phone and I'm literally an avatar, and I got to go speak to educators live. I got to watch videos. I played a game where I had to find the tubes. And if I found the tubes, which I didn't find all the tubes, which kind of made me upset because I thought like at some point it wouldn't be so challenging. And then if you found all the tubes, I think, you know, to Deanna's point, a kit was sent to that person afterwards to then be able to say, I've already gotten my education. I'm interested in it. I engaged, they've given me a kit. Somebody DM'd me today to say, I got this kit, this is awesome. And I wrote, wicked, like, tell me what you thought about the product. So I think there's going to be a lot of that that's happening in the future. 800 people, 1,400 people signed up. The Matrix team had an objective of 500. So there's an interest. It was weird because you had people maybe a little old school like me who were like, I don't understand, I'm walking through walls. Like it was a little bit weird in the beginning. I didn't know if I was supposed to move my phone, but I think that's where we're seeing it. It's blended learning. I think we're going to see live streams that sell. I'm watching something live. I click to buy. It gets delivered to me, you know, within 24 hours. I think AI, this idea of experiential hands-on. Why aren't we wearing headsets yet? Where I can be in my home or in my salon suite and actually cutting hair with somebody on stage. Like it can happen. And I think we're going to start seeing people be really disruptive. On the flip side, I think we have to keep reinventing ourselves. I think we're going to see a lot more business education. Again, people come to manufacturers for product knowledge support. I think we're going to see, for example, like sustainability means something completely different today than it may have a few years ago. Digital, we've associated digital to like Instagram or digital to Facebook, but how do we help people continue to grow their businesses that way? So I think we stay close to the market, listen to our clients to see what they're looking for and ensuring that they know it's accessible to them. But yeah, I don't think it's 5 or 10 years. I think if I was an avatar a week ago, like soon someone's shipping me a headset and I'm gonna be able to start cutting hair from the comfort of my own home. That's what I'm saying. And the amount that we've accelerated in 2 years is probably where we thought we would be 5 or 10 years from now. But the benefit of being at home and learning on how we can better serve the salon industry is why it's not going to take 5 or 10 years. So I'm not going to say 5 or 10 months, because then maybe my teams are going to get really upset that I'm like calling them out at the next event we're all wearing headsets. But stay tuned. I think we're going to see it happen much sooner than 5 years.
It's coming. It's coming at some point, that's for sure. I'm surprised there hasn't been more gamification of education, as you sort of alluded to. Because I think that that's definitely something that could be happening. Could be happening now. Erinn?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but if we consider, market trends and just trends across all industries, you hit the nail on the head. Gamification is a big one. And it is something that we're incorporating into what we do virtually right now. And I can see that exploding in 5 to 10 years and becoming these more immersive experiences where you are walking away with just such a deeper understanding of the education that we're delivering. Yes, AI, yes, augmented reality, yes, virtual reality, but I think that there's still that human component that can never be replaced, and really connecting with the hairdresser on that level is going to be key. In this digitalized future that we're all going to be living in. The other thing that I will say is that I think sustainability is going to be a bigger and bigger focus, not just from us as manufacturers on packaging and our eco footprint, but right down on a granular level for salons and the impact that maybe they're making on the environment, or how they can better their own practices, how we can change our shows and events to have more of an eco-friendly footprint, I think is going to be a big focus in the next 5 to 10 years.
We have an upcoming podcast episode where we're going to have a few salons talking about how they are being sustainable and environmentally friendly within their salon environment and things that they're doing of that nature. I think that will be able to provide a lot of insights and inspiration for our industry as well. Okay, we're gonna finish up here with one last question to each of you. I'm going to give you a 30-second time frame to just kind of wrap up, and if you had one message to share about why a salon professional should take education really, really seriously today and kind of moving forward, what would you tell them? And we'll start with you, Erinn, and then Angele and Deanna will close it up. One message to share, 30 seconds.
Okay. My message would be that education is investing in yourself, and we work in a very competitive industry, and education will pay dividends in your professionalism, in your confidence, in your abilities. And I think that it's a way to stay connected to the industry that sparked your passion in the first place and continue to evolve. And education doesn't have to mean a financial investment. It can mean a time investment that I think will be well worth it, because knowledge is power, and we want to empower you to stay motivated and to really succeed in either your business or in your artistic abilities.
Angele, why should a salon professional take education seriously today?
For me, it's clear. Consumers now expect more from their stylist. They want a personalized, unique experience that's different, and that justifies why they need to see a professional. So I think it's up to us to continue to elevate that client experience, keep them in salons. So ongoing education, marketing, digital is how we're going to be able to achieve that. Because there are a lot of consumers still that believe they can do it themselves. So continue to educate, continue to professionalize the industry, continue to push the pro, but offer people something they can't do themselves, or they can't get their friend to do, or their partner to do. Education will be essential to the sustainability of a professional industry.
Deanna, you get the last word.
Well said, Angela. Took the words right out of my mouth. It's all about, as a professional, if you don't seek education, your clients are going to start to do it. Like, they're going to become DIYers, right? So, we need to continue to elevate our craft, elevate the professionalism in our industry, and really offer that client that experience that they can't create themselves. They're coming to you for a reason. They're coming to you because you're the professional. So continue to drive yourself, continue to challenge yourself as a stylist. Maybe you're not somebody that does education, but continue to really push yourself to learn, push yourself to, to grow in the industry, and and to just be that person that everybody wants to come and sit in your chair, come and see, whether it be through, craft or through business, whatever avenue it is. Continue to educate yourself, because it will keep you motivated in the industry, and it'll keep people in your chair.
Well said, all three of you. Wow, this is we've wrapped up so much information all together. There was a lot of insights and information to chew on in this episode. I believe this is information that really needs to be heard, in our industry. And thank you all so much for sharing. If you're listening right now to this and connected with something that was said, please do our industry a favor. Share this with at least one other salon professional that you feel can benefit from what's been talked about. We need to keep having conversations and sharing ideas together as a community to help elevate our industry as a whole. Deanna, Erinn, Angele, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing. I know how complicated it was to coordinate schedules in the first place, but technically you're all competitors, as I mentioned at the top, but ultimately it's clear that you all care so much about just helping salon professionals grow. And I always believe that we're much stronger when we work together. So I appreciate you sort of coming together. And it's because of leaders like yourself that we can continue to make positive steps, forward in our industry. You really are sort of setting the tone for the future, for the next 2, 5, 10 years that our industry is going to benefit from. So we will include contact information in the episode notes in case anyone listening wants to reach out to any of these three women with follow-up questions. Are there any last comments from any of you before we completely wrap?
Scott, I'm just getting started. I thought this podcast was going to be like 3+. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for the opportunity. I don't know that I ever would have connected with Erinn or Deanna, so I think that's awesome. And all jokes aside, I'd love to connect in the future and stay connected, because I agree with you. We may be competitor manufacturers. The one thing we have in common is we want to grow a sustainable professional industry for the future. So whether you find me on Instagram, you call me up, I think we are much stronger together as a voice for the industry. So Scott, thank you so much. And Erinn and Deanna, it was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I totally agree. As much as we're competitors, we're peers and colleagues at the same time. So this was a very unique opportunity. Thank you for arranging it, Scott. And I'm really honored to have been able to participate and glad to have met you all.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. This was awesome. I know it took a little bit of juggling with everybody's schedules, but it was, to be able to. I think sometimes, sometimes people from the outside go, "Oh my goodness, bringing manufacturers all together in one room is going to be scary or a fight," but it's not. We're all here. We obviously care a lot about the industry, or we wouldn't be here. We care about elevating the education that they see, where they need to see it, and just elevating the industry. That's why we're here. I think we have a common goal. So I would love to stay in touch with you, ladies. This has been awesome. Thank you, Scott.
Amazing. All right. Thanks everyone for listening, and time to go get your education on. Have a great day.